welcome back to another episode of Debt Collection 101. We have a new guest on our show today. We have Chris Ball from Belvista Software, and we're going to be talking about tips for successful skip tracing at scale. So thank you, Chris, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Ashley.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and Belvista Software.
Sure. So actually, I've spent my entire career in the debt collections industry. It's the first job I accepted out of college, and I've been supporting technology and debt collection systems and compliance and operations for about 15 years since then. So in December of last year, decided to start my own consulting and software development company, Belvista Software. And since then, I've been helping a larger number of agencies solve their technology problems.
Nice. Yeah, I know. I remember I talked to you and you had lots of experience. So I'm excited to learn more about everything.
Yeah, like Ashley said, today we're going to talk about skip tracing. So can you tell us what skip tracing services are currently available and how you find them?
So that's a good question. There's a lot on the market. There's your traditional credit bureaus, and then there's a lot of other companies out there selling services. Typically, I find the best way to identify a new source through networking, right? Talk to your network, talk to the folks in the industry, find out what they're using. People are generally more than willing to share what's working for them and why. Some of the big names out there, and I'm not selling people, just ones I've had experience with. You've got, of course, TransUnion and Experience. You've got CBC. There's Teletrack, LexisNexis, R&N Group. There's a ton of them out there. So you really need to find a service that gives the information you're looking for, whether that's phone numbers, addresses, bankruptcy, credit data, whatever, and kind of try them out, see how they fit.
Awesome. Yeah, those are good. Some name drops, so hopefully they appreciate those.
Yeah.
So what are some elements to differentiate services, and what are some green lights for a unique or effective service?
Okay, so there's a lot of public data available. And if you're talking to a new vendor and they're saying they pull public data, well, what does that mean? Everybody says they pull public data. So how are they differentiating their service amongst the competition? Because if all they're doing is public data, you're just going for the cheapest price. Are they matching better? Do they have some unique source? Do they have a unique relationship? There's one vendor that I'd worked with in the past, and they did employment verifications for Walmart, right? So they had a unique relationship that gave them an edge above the other employment vendors. So you're really looking for something unique with that vendor that allows them to find information that others may not have.
Awesome. And can you go over some matching criteria that agencies can use to identify consumers correctly?
Sure. And this gets into, I guess, comfort level with the quality of the match that you're getting back from your agency. So a lot of vendors will be able to match on social security number, on first name, on last name, on address, or any combination thereof. And they're willing to go as loose, quote unquote, if you will, as possible to sell you a hit. But you've got to be able to measure the effectiveness of that criteria and know the quality of your data and understand if that's really getting you the desired result or not. So it's not necessarily a once set and done type decision. You're going to want to tweak that over time as you understand the effectiveness of the results you're getting.
Right. So, I guess adding on to that, how can an agency ensure the data gets in front of the right people?
So I've seen a number of situations in my consulting experience where folks are buying data and nothing's being done with it. And it's important because you're spending a lot of money, and skip tracing is typically the second largest expense in a collection agency after personnel. And you're spending a lot of money on that data, and you want to make sure it's used effectively and it's used quickly after it's purchased. So it's not enough just to dump it into the system and expect that someone's going to pick it up and dial it. You really have to have a plan for how you're presenting that information to collectors and what their action they're taking on that data to make it effective.
Yeah.
Whether that's outbound dialing, following up bankruptcy, following up on credit data. I'm just going to throw an example. I worked with an agency and we had credit triggers coming back. So when someone does something in their credit file, whether they apply for a car loan or a mortgage, they did something and they gave new information. Those credit triggers are very valuable very quickly because they're trying to do something right now. And this agency had this information going in the system, but did not have any follow-up process. And the managers that knew about this information, they had like this little niche of performance because they knew how to go find those, but it wasn't made agency-wide, right? It wasn't made effective across the board. So they weren't getting the real value out of that information that they could have.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I see and hear a lot of people just like, I have the right information now and it just goes right into the software and like, that's it. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a good answer.
Yeah. And you mentioned that, this is a large expense for agencies, but I'm sure it can also be time consuming. So do you have any tips for automating the skip tracing process?
Yeah, so there's another kind of pain point that I see, especially on the technology side. And there's two types of automation. Someone that's sitting there like generating files and sending it to a vendor and then downloading them from their FTP site, that is non-value add activity, and that's something that's very easy to automate. Your existing IT staff can probably do that without an issue. So eliminating those gets the data into the collector's hands real time. And then it goes back to that workflow. How are you presenting accounts to folks? Are you running a report and printing a spreadsheet and handing out 50 pages, one to each collector, and saying these are your results? Or are you using the technology that's in front of you to drive their behavior and their process and presenting that information in a more automated fashion? And when you eliminate the manual work involved with some of the legacy processes you see, you're just getting more value out of the spend that you have with the skip trace providers.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, what are some KPIs that agencies can look to measure the effectiveness of skip tracing efforts, if any?
Yep, this is a favorite question of.
I was gonna say your face lit up.
It's like a necessary evil, right? You're spending all this money, and how do you know what you're getting for it? How do you know that the letter you sent isn't what drove your collection? Or how do you know that the agent doing manual skip tracing isn't what drove it? And I don't have the perfect magical answer to that question, but you're looking for trends. You're looking at a macro level. You're not going to see a decision on an individual account. So you want to take a step back and look at your portfolio and look at the actions that you're taking on it, and statistically measure the effectiveness, the collection rate, if you will, the contact rate of accounts that you've had certain skip trace hits on, and see if there's a meaningful variance in those results as compared to the rest of the portfolio. And it should be obvious. If you're looking at it statistically, you're looking at it at a portfolio level view, then you can notice trends in the data and in those accounts that you're getting skip hits on, even if you're getting multiple skip hits. You can do time value measurement. There's ways to look at the data and the analytics statistically to understand the impact against your portfolio. Right. And then to make decisions, because not every vendor is going to work for you. For some reason, one reason or another, you're going to end up cutting vendors because they're underperforming, and you're going to look for new vendors that are performing. So you want to have this constant kind of improvement process in place to make sure you're getting the most value out of that spend.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how many people actually look at that stuff. So I think that's some great information. And I'm actually excited to share this with people because I hear a lot of people looking for skip tracing companies or just anything in regards to skip tracing. And I know, like you said, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing in an agency. So they're always asking questions about skip tracing. So I'm excited to share this with all of our contacts. But right now, that is it from us. If you'd like to add anything, feel free.
Thank you. Yeah, Ashley, Tracy, thank you for having me on and taking the time. I love this industry. I love what I do and the technology and the people. And I look forward to continue working with everyone that's viewing, if you will.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for giving us some great advice on skip tracing. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.